That's not my outfit.
It's Death by Monsters.
Hello, welcome, you bunch of fiendish ghouls. This is Death by Monsters, the show about monsters, mysteries, and the unknown, and in no way replaces genuine psychiatric help. I'm joined by Paula Deming.
Hi, everyone.
Nick Murphy.
Hello.
And my name is Matthew Jude. How the hell are y'all?
I'm doing good.
Oh, do you mean us or our audience? Oh, give me us. Hi, I am fine.
First, two things. No one's listening. Secondly, I don't care how they feel.
Oh, okay.
I've got no love in my heart.
I'm neutral. I'm like Switzerland. I'm like, yeah, if you're in front of me, I'll listen to how you feel.
Hey, just because Matthew and Nick are terrible people, I'm here for you. So I care how you feel.
I said I'm neutral.
You make me sick. This week, we are looking at the Jersey Devil, which definitely isn't an owl. And to caveat myself...
It is an owl.
Look.
Great horned owl. It's got ears that look kind of like horns. It's generally relatively large, and it can stand in those trees. Those tree branches are too small.
That one report was like, there was no mouth, but there was a weird ridge-like nose. And I'm like, oh, you mean like a beak?
So, the 45-minute mark reveal ruined. I will caveat myself, because I feel that I should make some kind of opening statement. Because I love the Jersey Devil. I believe that there is something out in the Pine Barrens, but I do appreciate the fact that I want to believe, which is a phrase I've just come up with.
I've never heard it before, ever.
Yeah, good job.
I don't think it has to be anything paranormal, but I do think that there is most likely something out there that by all accounts shouldn't be out there. But I also know that I love all these East Coast old America folk tales, which were primarily conceived and spread by a bunch of what I can only describe as terrified Europeans.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because, I mean, the first time they saw fireflies, they probably had minor heart attacks.
I would freak out.
That's a fair point, yeah.
I've never seen them. I've always wanted to see them.
You haven't seen fireflies?
No, not in real life.
What?
I've always wanted to. It's seriously one of my dreams to see fireflies.
I'm going to guess Paula's seen a mess of fireflies.
A whole heap of fireflies. My whole life.
That's because you're from South Carolina. Aren't there a ton there?
I've caught them. I'm from North Carolina.
Flavor country!
Yeah, they're everywhere, and I've caught them in my hands, and then I've let them go. They've crawled on me, you know. If you squish them, you can write, like, glowing words on the sidewalk.
What?
So you've heard.
So I've heard. I've never done it. I would never.
Yes, exactly. The rumor goes.
I'm going to start this off slightly differently because I'm going to have to go through the folklore and the origin stories that surround this mall shopping, tailgating, dine eating, mama makes the best pizza, jousier sounding motherfucker. And these are all the stereotypes I've found about New Jersey on a website called stereotypesaboutnewjersey.com.
Hey.
And while admittedly, the first thing I've done every time I've ever been to New Jersey is immediately leave. It's actually, according to a rival website, visitnewjersey.org, a beautiful state with picturesque beaches, mountains, and forest, where every town has a unique personality.
I love the internet.
That being said, I know lots of people with unique personalities, and I hate them. I have faith in the human race for them to be everyone individually awful.
Politely insulting.
Look, I don't know how this works in New Jersey, but in the South, when you call something unique, if you use a word like that, that is a way of nicely saying that you don't like it. Yeah. Oh, it's so unique.
She's certainly a handsome woman.
It's like when someone goes, interesting.
Bless her heart. She is so unique.
Wow, you have such an original face. So... And though New Jersey has a bunch of people in it, the Pine Barrens, the land the devil calls home.
Oh, dear. Is that the slogan on the sign when you, like, drive into town? It's like, population 450,000, the town the devil calls home.
And one devil. It's 1 million acres of forest, which by my estimation is just a shit ton of forest.
That's a lot.
I tried to do some size comparisons and it wasn't quite as large as I was hoping. I was like, that's the size of Scotland. It really isn't.
No. Well, Jersey's not the size of Scotland either. I don't understand what an acre is.
It's like a football pitch.
Because when someone says like 10 acres were burned down in this fire, I'm like, I don't, because to me, I feel like that's half of California, but I know it's not.
No, it's not. It's like a football field. I like to think of an acre as about the amount of land you could defend on your own with a pitchfork. I think that's probably how they did land currency conversions at the time.
Don't worry, I got it. 1 acre is 43,560 square feet.
Oh.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, Nick's going to need the statistic, but in baseball diamonds, I think.
That's right. How many baseball fields is it?
For the disambiguation list, on with the podcast, I do want to mention briefly the Beast of Jersey, who was a nightmarish serial sex offender who was, in the literal sense, a fucking monster.
That checks out.
Oh my goodness.
Look him up if you don't already have enough hate in your body. You can enjoy that. Or there's another Jersey Devil, Jamie the Jersey Devil Pitaro, who finally, after 2 long decades of independent professional wrestling, was inducted into the Maryland National Wrestling House of Pain.
He sounds lovely.
Yes, he's a hard-working wrestler, and now he tutors and promotes.
Cool.
I was sidetracked multiple times. First, watching independent wrestling, then bare knuckle fighting, then about an hour of just watching people fighting in the street, and then 2 hours of watching Irish family gangs who film videos just threatening people, which, honest to God, is some of the best TV I've ever seen.
Were those people in New Jersey?
No, they were...
Oh, it spiraled.
It's like some guy in County Cork who hates someone in County Clare and he's offering to fight his brother. It's absolutely brilliant. I will link in the description.
That's all right.
I'll watch it.
I've been through some dark periods of my life, and watching people fight on the internet was one of them. I got into a thing where my friend Dan Hughes stopped me from doing this. I was doing this thing where I was just watching hours and hours of like car crashes and like people like in vicious car crashes on YouTube. And then I realised I was watching people die, and I thought, I need to stop this.
Like, legitimately, yeah.
And while I do believe in the Jersey Devil, I first have to tell you a story, which is definitely bullshit.
Ooh, storytime music.
I know, right?
The classic story has many variations, but the general tale goes like this. On a dark and terrible night in 1735, though I'd have to assume all nights were terrible in 1735 because it was 1735.
Fair.
In the New World, surrounded by Lyme's disease and Puritans. A Quaker woman gave birth to a child during a thunderstorm.
Ooh.
Some believed her to be a sorceress, of course.
Well, how else did she live through so many childbirths?
She's going to have 13 kids, and one of them is going to be the Jersey Devil. Spoiler.
She had 13 just to get to that number, because she knew 13, it's going to be a devil. If I'm going to give birth to the devil, as my destiny states, I'm going to have 12 other kids first.
I'll just scrap the whole script out now.
You tell your story.
The woman known as Mother Leeds had 12 children, but the 13th, obviously, was deformed. And as she gazed up on its face, or down, I suppose, I imagine, she cried to the heavens, "Lord, let this be a devil!"
Now, wait, I have a question.
Real quick.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead, Paula.
I have heard this story told a few different ways, and I would like to know, some people say that she got pregnant and was like, oh, fuck, I'm going to have a 13th kid. Well, I hope this one's just a devil, before she had it. And some say she screamed it in the throes of childbirth. Now, you made it seem like she had the baby, was horrified by it, and then exclaimed the devil thing. So which one is real?
That's what I was going to ask, too. Did she look at it and the baby was just not a cute baby? And she's like, let this one be a devil! Like that? Or was it when she was she proclaiming it before it was born?
Two things. Firstly, I've got to imagine she had an English accent. Second thing, no idea.
What did I do? Did I know to do an English accent?
Let this one be a devil. Is that better?
We're going to let this one right here be a devil when it comes out of the womb. That better?
At the moment, I would just say this. Paula is streaming a game on Twitch called Pillars of the Earth. They all have British accents. They all sound like they're from just south of York is where they all sound like. And you have this fantastic habit, which I've enjoyed immensely, which is
where I just repeat
almost every sentence that is said in that thing. You feel the urge to repeat it in what I can describe as my favourite voice of all time.
I'm glad you find it entertaining, because I think it's probably annoying to most people.
No, I like it. Now, that doesn't make any sense at all. And I appreciate that this is 1735, and to most people, reading, writing, and running water were a mystery. If she is a sorceress, why would she pray to God? And if she's a Christian Puritan, then why would God give her a devil baby?
Because there's sin in the world, and God, these things just happen sometimes.
These things, they just happen. It's just an everyday event. How was your week? Oh, I was just hanging out, went fishing, had a devil baby. Let's not get bogged down with what's going on with this bit of the story, because that's not the last weird thing I'm going to say this episode. Some accounts say the child was born normal and took on its odd characteristics. I've written odd characteristics, and I feel like that was an understatement. Its elongated body, its winged shoulders, a large horse-like head, cloven feet, and a thick tail. And to top it off, the poor soul was kept in a cage until it escaped. And other versions of the story have it pretty much flying out of Mother Lee's vagina, slitting everyone's throat, and then escaping up the chimney and away into the night.
That's what I believe.
So that's the one I want to believe.
It makes sense that a creature of this size could fit up a chimney. I guess if Santa can do it, okay, I've talked myself into it.
It was just inside a person. A chimney is, God, I hope smaller than her birth canal. I mean, bigger than her birth canal.
Well, no, it came out of her and then it changed into a man-sized creature, I think. And then it flew up the chimney.
Oh, I thought it was like full grown, like just like, hey, I'm here.
I think what's important is we really nail down these details now, because this story needs fleshing out in a way that makes it seem real.
Does he slit the mother's throat? That's what I want to know. Is he like, hey, mama, you cool?
And the umbilical cord, obviously.
Well, I mean, he's not a monster. Yeah.
It quite literally is a monster, but that's not the point. I know this story says a young woman from Leeds Point, and that Leeds connection isn't a coincidence. The Leeds family just named everything in the area after themselves, as was the style in the time.
Like you do.
This young woman had fallen in love with a British soldier. The British had come to the region because the iron furnaces at Batstow were supplying the privateers. Goddamn privateers!
Those guys.
Because they were supplying them in 1778 with cannonballs. So the British engaged the Americans at the Battle of Chestnut Neck.
Ooh, what a town name.
I know.
It is quite nice. The townsfolk opposed the romance, calling her liaison an act of treason, which honestly, for me, would heighten the sexual experience.
At least in the moment, for sure. You kidding me?
We shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
This is super naughty.
And the soldier, no, we shouldn't, but we will anyway.
But we're totally going to.
No, this is so naughty. That's what she sounds like.
You do the American girl. Not like that, and I'll do the British accent if we're going to role play this.
Great, let's do it. Let's role play this.
Tim, who am I? What
You're
character am I?
you're a disapproving townsperson.
Because it's just that people are taking on accents, and there is literally an American woman and a British man here. We're not going to do the role play, but I'm just saying if we needed to,
Excuse me.
we could have.
Excuse me, soldier. You look really good in that uniform, and you have a really adorable accent. And I feel like I shouldn't be standing this close to you, but here I am.
Well, let's do it.
Y'all want some milk?
Oh no, we've been caught.
I'm leaving for Britain. Goodbye forever.
Is that how all of your lady liaisons go? Because that was unsatisfying, I have to say.
I mean, there's so much to unpack here that I'm just not going to go into.
Let's just move on. We can move past it.
They cursed. I was worried this wasn't going to last long enough. We are on page 1. They cursed the girl, and the curse manifested itself in the most 1778 way possible. You guessed it, devil baby.
Yeah.
A variation of the story is all about a young woman who encounters a passing gypsy begging for food. She gets frightened by the gypsy and refuses to help. The gypsy curses her for her refusal, and... No one? Devil baby. That's right.
Sorry. Yes. Devil baby. Yes.
The only real common thread here is that when something weird happens in those next to the woods in the oldie days, just blame a young girl and call her a witch or a devil or something like that. Then carry on with your day. Paula.
Yes.
You would have been just, with your sunny demeanour, there is no way you weren't getting a devil baby.
It's true.
Oh, yeah. Or, thrown into a river with stones in my pocket to see if I drowned, or just hanged, or just burned at the stake.
We've run out of corn this harvest. It was Becky. Burn her, the evil bitch.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, let's be honest.
Becky, what a...
She
Always
is the
Becky.
worst.
Always Becky.
I think she was the one that put the dare stones out as well. Anyway,
Yeah, we're not talking about the stupid stones.
now, do you want to hear some of my favourite origin stories?
Yes.
Because that's the classic tale, right? But there's a lot of other folklore ways that this Jersey Devil kind of come about, or at least the other stories that could have augmented the original story. First one that I really like is, wait for it, pterodactyl.
Now, this makes sense based on the description of the creature.
It's not that far off, to be completely honest, yeah.
Bear in mind that the description of the Jersey Devil has remained pretty consistent over the years,
Yeah.
and a pterodactyl does look a lot like your classic Jersey Devil. It's got a giant's jersey on, has some very long-winded opinion about bagels.
Cool.
It's very difficult to do any research on this episode without people just blasting New Jersey. So so what I'm going to do actually to augment that, I'm going to add a few different things that are good about New Jersey. So if you're in the Pennington area on August 3rd, there's a butterfly festival, just so you know.
That sounds lovely.
But you do have to deal with New Jersey people if you're going to go there.
Yeah,
so.
look at these freaking butterflies. They're beautiful. They make my heart sing.
Okay, that actually was endearing, so I'm convinced.
There's a theory that I love that involves Benjamin Franklin of kite flying and dead bodies under the floorboards Hail Satan fame.
What?
Oh, okay, there's this whole thing.
I'm sure it's a later episode, I'm sure.
I can't get into it now, but look up dead bodies under Benjamin Franklin
What?
floorboards.
We're talking about
Oh.
that later. I need to know.
Yeah, we are.
Franklin had a rake of rivals. One of them was a man called Titan Leeds. Yes, that Leeds.
Oh, Leeds.
I know no smoke without fire isn't the best defence, but the Leeds family and the Jersey Devil look like the insane clown posse at a vape convention. It's the best joke I've ever written.
What? Are you saying that there's a lot of smoke surrounding the Leeds family?
Yes, it doesn't make sense, of course, because vape isn't smoke. But
Exactly.
I appreciate that the actual joke doesn't work, but it made me giggle. So they had this little dispute which escalated into a version of the Jersey Devil tale. Franklin had this pamphlet that came out once a year called the Poor Richard's Almanac.
Ah, yes.
I did not know what an almanac was.
Oh.
But just think of it as a colonial version of the Reader's Digest with tips on how to stay alive and puzzles.
Yeah, and it's got like weather predictions and when you should plant your crops and that kind of thing.
Exactly, that's exactly what it is. But you know what? Titan Leeds had a bloody almanac too.
Oh.
And an awesome name, let's face it.
Titan Leeds is pretty cool, yeah.
This led to Franklin using his almanac to shitpost about Leeds once a year. Because Franklin wanted to hold the monopoly on what essentially ended up as 18th century kindling. He used his almanac to spread the rumour that Titan Leeds was dead, which I have to admit, is pretty fucking funny.
That's pretty awesome. In an age of no internet, that's pretty great. I'm not going to lie.
So with this rumour going around and the constant references to Leeds being in the past tense, paired with the fact that Titan's almanac was still being released and Titan himself being very much alive, the story that he was a ghost releasing his book from beyond the grave turned into a spooky story that ruined him and started a Jersey Devil myth all of its own.
It's interesting to me that ruined him because to me, I feel like that makes the almanac like more appealing. Like,
I'd
I
buy
feel
his
like it would
almanac,
actually
yeah.
be a promotional boost. People are like, this is the one that's being made by a ghost.
From beyond the grave, you say? Yeah,
Yeah.
Actually, I'd buy it. If I'm your target market, though, you're in a niche you shouldn't be, frankly. So there's also a whole bunch of great historical eyewitnesses, from church leaders to government officials to police officers to diplomats. Commodore Stephen Decanter, who was a naval officer in the early 19th century, allegedly, which is a word admitting I should use way more often than I do, visited the Hanover Mill Works to inspect cannonballs, which apparently isn't a euphemism. While he was testing the product at a firing range, he saw and shot a large winged creature, but it had no effect and the creature flew away.
Maybe he actually missed.
That's what I'm going to assume. I definitely hit it. Joseph Bonaparte, brother of Napoleon Bonaparte from trying to take over Russia fame, tried to shoot the Jersey Devil while out hunting near Bordentown. And don't forget, Bordentown Township Fall Festival is October 12th at 2 o'clock
Okay.
at Joseph Lawrence Park. Bring the family. And,
God, we know.
and
thank
there's
God.
this...
I'm not against any sponsorship, so.
I'd be against some sponsorship. And there's this whole story about the Jersey Devil being friends with a mermaid. That's lots of fun 18th century bullshit.
What a cute little buddy comedy. The Jersey Devil and the Mermaid. Like, you know, fish
Look
out
at
of
this
water
stuff.
thing.
Isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think?
It's a rom-com.
Sebastian, no!
A rom-com I want to see like legitimately, I want to see a rom-com where the two main characters are Meryl Streep and Jackie Chan. I would watch the hell out of that movie.
Context?
Two of the most charming people on the planet. Oh, it'd be great.
Actually, I could see it being really entertaining.
Yes, it'd be so funny and fun. Oh, it'd be great.
But in 1909, things kind of got real. That should be in some kind of italics or parentheses, whichever one is not makes it seem less like the truth. When the police published 30 sightings in 1 week from Maryland to Delaware, which caused a legitimate panic and prompted the Smithsonian to make a statement on the creature, which came down on the side of prehistoric creature from the Jurassic period.
Oh my gosh, the Smithsonian was like, we think this is a pterodactyl that everyone's seeing?
It was 1909, just
Oh,
to,
That's fair.
1909.
just to put that into context.
That helps a little.
2008.
It helps a little, but still.
And while other experts thought it to be a large marsupial, this all led to genuine wanted posters, and the superintendent, Robin D. Carson from the Philadelphia Zoo, offered a $10,000 reward for the devil's capture. And my favourite sentence from all my research is, this reward remains uncollected. And because I love it, $10,000 in 1909 is $280,000 in today's money.
Ooh, let's go turn in a Jersey Devil so we can get that sweet, sweet reward money.
Absolutely, I mean 100%. And after a bunch of sightings in the 60s, another bounty was put on old JD Goatface, this time for $250,000, which is about $2.1 million in today's money.
Oh my gosh, I've got it. This is how we're going to support the podcast.
Yeah, this is our sponsorship right here.
I mean, I'm all for it as a promotional tool, but I'm just dubious as to whether it's going to... We could start kind of like a GoFundMe for it, but we would have to siphon off much of that money to support us. Also, it doesn't mean much because, I mean, I could say that I'm going to give a £2 million reward for anyone who can bring me the head of a dead grey alien. In fact, I will say that. I'll say that right now. If you can get me a dead alien head, I'll let you have the content of my bank account. The caveat being, if it costs you any money to get you that dead alien, you will end up with, at best, a net loss.
Yeah, pretty much.
So now we've gotten through all the horse shit on the Jersey Devil, I will say that for all the nonsense that goes with it as a cryptid, the one thing that I find really interesting is the fact that the description of the Jersey Devil never changes. It's always a large winged creature with a horse's face. Well, again, sometimes it's like a dog man. Well, that's a whole separate thing. And it's important because it's the fact that people are seeing something that they don't recognise, that they don't understand, and that by all accounts, spooky looking. It's not an owl! It could be an owl.
It's dark, you know.
Well, look.
It's 100% an owl.
The Jersey Devil might be a thing that isn't an owl, but I'm not convinced that some of these sightings aren't owls. That's the compromise I'll make.
I mean, I think a lot of people probably are seeing an owl. So I force you both to watch a documentary. And honestly, there's a lot to unpack about that documentary.
Forced is the correct word.
Tied up, gun to the head. You will watch this. Eyelids held open, a la Clockwork Orange style.
There's an incredible number of middle-aged men wearing shades for no reason. And I just feel like I need to mention that. It's truly the most surreal part about the whole thing.
It's ridiculous.
It makes them look cool. They just all want to be D.B. Cooper.
They do. Oh, God.
He's an American hero, Paula!
Okay.
Also, a bunch of that documentary, for almost no reason, concentrated on what was very obviously a dead dog on a beach up in Montauk.
Yes.
It was. I don't understand why they even mention it, as this definitely a dog doesn't have wings, for starters. And then there's a great interview with Dr. Larry Barrett, I want to say, from Plum Island Animal Disease Center, which has a bunch of conspiracies around it, which because it's a secure government facility, aliens. But I'll tell you something about Dr. Larry Barrett, which I'm going with Barrett. I'm changing the pronunciation. He looks really tired of people asking him about the Jersey Devil.
Oh, I'm sure.
He's like, we just keep it locked down because we don't want the diseases to get out in the regular population.
We've got bird flu
and there's
in here.
nothing hoof and mouth disease. Come on, guys.
Is that what y'all have to say about this stupid dog?
They concentrate on it. It's just...
It's because they need to fill 42 minutes. That's why.
One bit that they use to fill that 42 minutes with is this whole search party thing, right? There's this whole thing about a search party, which, while thinly veiled as a professional expedition to track down a mythical creature for science reasons, I've got to assume was just a great excuse to get out into the woods with a whole posse, a bunch of guns. My guess would be a few crates of what I'm going to assume is Coors Banquet. And my favourite,
Of course.
my favourite high-vis camouflage combo. Either you want to be seen or you don't. Choose one.
It's true.
That's all I'm saying. If you're going to wear high-vis, probably can leave the camo at home.
So true.
It's just a floating vest.
Not to mention, notoriously, the Jersey Devil is always seen at night, as far as I can tell. And let's just do this on like a Saturday afternoon, and just like, yeah, that'll work. Oh my, we were talking about this in Slack beforehand a couple days ago. I was like, this is my least favorite documentary because like it's just all the crap I hate having to watch for this documentary. There's like some BS chase for this thing that, of course, proves nothing, and they don't find anything.
They see a white-tailed deer.
Yeah, a couple times they're like, what was that? I heard movement. They're like, it was a deer. We know there's freaking deer out here. It's just, I hate this stupid search. It makes, I'm so upset about it.
They use what they describe as a Native American technique to corral and bottleneck any animals leaving the search area.
Highly effective.
They give it a good go with like 60 people fucking tramping around the woods.
Yeah.
And after what I can only describe as many, many camera angles and a bunch of men just yelling, which I don't think is ideal for a stealthy hunt, do they find a creature of forgotten lore? A strange alien hybrid? Some horrific prehistoric throwback? No, of course they don't, because they did, it wouldn't be in a documentary, it'd be on the news, wouldn't it?
Yes.
God damn it.
Exactly.
Every time they ever searched hunting for Loch Ness, we know they didn't find it because I imagine I would have heard about it.
There was one of the comments on one of these documentaries, because it's like Monster Hunters or whatever that show on History Channel is, and it was just like
652 ghost hunts and no ghosts.
yeah, exactly. It's like so many. It's like and they're still at completely zero.
I do believe though, and I think one day we will see something cool. Other encounters. I just want to go through a few other encounters. I did a bunch of reading on the Jersey Devil encounters, and while they fall into the categories of hearsay or I'll tell you what I saw when I was trucking with my dad, there are just too many people seeing things that they can't explain in the Pine Barrens. Large winged monsters attacking trucks, campers being stalked in the woods by a demonic presence.
Ugh.
A very disturbing story about children forced out on survival expeditions and hearing distant screams, and a bizarre half-dog, half-human goat man thing.
Oh my goodness.
Hunters whose dogs bolt after hearing evil human howling all around them before being chased by flying creatures. There's stories of canoeing college students who were stalked by the screams of a monster and the ghost of a woman whose skin was shredded and blood-stained only to vanish into the misty trees.
Ew.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Hot, right? Pretty hot. In 81, a Wharton State Ranger's encounter made the newspapers as he saw a huge, furry, three-toed creature which had torn apart 4 pigs, the back of their heads eaten out, and they're covered in vicious scratches, which is a shame because,
Ew.
yeah, pretty Because it's
rough.
a shame as well because he could instead have visited the annual Dandelion Festival in Vinland. So, you know.
It would have been so much nicer. So many less half-headed pigs.
Bring the whole family.
Finland, where it's always growing season. So, that's legitimately a thing. So, the main encounter I'm going to go through involves Laurie Winkleman and her husband Glenn, who live in Walton State Park in the Pine Barrens, which is great as it means they can go to the Hamilton Red Wine and Blueberry Festival that starts at 12 noon, 609-561-9080 for details.
That sounds actually like a thing I would love to attend.
I like the name, Red, White and Blueberries.
Sure.
The sighting was 2004 as Laurie and her 11-year-old son, Glenn Jr., played in this documentary by what I can only describe as a full-grown adult male. They go out. I think it literally was played by Glenn Jr. himself, but he had certainly grown. They go out into the dusking night to unplug some Christmas lights. Glenn Jr. looks up and sees what he describes as a large and horrifying black creature perched in the tree above them. And in their panicked haze, they both bolt for the house as the creature swoops above them, landing on the roof of the house in front of them. As it crawled down the roof, it made, quote, weird click-clack metallic-y bony noises before they got in the house and locked the door behind them.
This is the one that's the owl.
Yes, 100%. This is an owl.
I mean,
No, it's an owl. Are you kidding me?
She said there was no mouth, just a weird ridge-like nose thing. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a beak. And then these owls make click-clacky noises with those beaks.
Yeah, they do. They go click, 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 click.
They hop.
I ain't never heard of no owl in the woods, you say? The next morning, Glenn Sr. takes photos of a series of tracks left by the monster preserved in the snow. Preserved is the wrong word.
Yes.
Which he took because it's in snow. Those two things don't add anywhere.
Good thing snow is permanent and never moves or go away.
It snowed here 60 years ago. You can tell because it's still white out.
You can see Mastodon track.
He took the photographs to a professional hunter who didn't know what the hell it was. So they then turned to the local parks authority, and the regional wildlife experts didn't know either because they weren't willing to open their minds to the fantastique, goddammit! They then contacted the police, who told them to buy some guns.
What a thing. I'm horrified that the police were like, you should probably just arm yourself.
I don't know about you, but have you tried buying some guns?
I love her response to that in the documentary, too. She was like, we're not that kind of person.
People around here don't own guns.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about this? Because I've got some thoughts.
I mostly yelled my thoughts at the very beginning of the episode that this is an owl, clearly. And the tracks, particularly talk about the tracks. Like, they take it to some expert about tracks. One, the photo is like the crappiest photo from like the worst angle. And he's like, yeah, like the tracks are like separated, like something was jumping, and that's kind of how like owls move around because they don't like walk. They're not bipedal like us. So they're just like, they kind of hop. And this makes sense for that. And then like the snow had melted a little bit, and like it melts in a way that like it looks like bird tracks.
Makes everything look
bigger.
bigger.
Yeah, it looks like bird tracks, stuff like that. It's like a great horned owl has big ears that look kind of like a horn. And when things are moving very quickly in the night, making click-clacky sounds.
And owls have a wingspan of 5 feet. They make metallic clicking
And they've been known
noises.
to like sometimes attack people, like if they're like up in their grill, being like, hey, like you're too close, you know, like.
Just like in the staircase.
Ooh, just like in the staircase. Let's get into that. Also, they have huge eyes that shine red and ear tufts that look like horns.
Right,
This is all
see?
explained through what I can only describe as a series of pained sighs by an animal expert called Troy Ettel, who is another person who is sick to the back teeth of talking about the Jersey Devil.
That's so true. He's just like,
Oh, I just want to study raccoons, and then every day some prick comes to the Pine Barrens. He wasn't wearing shades, and I think they really would have helped him out.
it would have been better. It would have been better.
Because two people who were wearing shades were retired NYPD detective Mitch Parker, who looks almost exactly as you would imagine retired NYPD detective Mitch Parker to look. He's joined by Frank Tacamo, who both turned up wearing sunglasses, and I have to believe, having just that morning finished rewatching Men in Black.
Got it, obviously. Come on.
They've got a camera, a measuring stick, and they ask deep and uncomfortable questions such as, where were you standing? And could it have been an owl? So the Winkelmans really stand by what they say, right? And also to do this, the detectives have both Laurie and Glenn Jr. undergo a polygraph.
Oh my goodness, the questions in the polygraph. I felt like we're really leading.
Yeah.
So you saw a Jersey Devil, eh?
Yeah, like you were afraid for your life, weren't you?
You've never loved your husband, have you, Glenn Sr.? I'm going to say this on many, many, many podcasts if we do them. Which we might not. Who knows? If no one's listening, I'll just kill myself.
Please don't.
I'll do what I want, Paula.
You're just gonna move on. Fine.
Fine, do.
Fine. You just do that then.
I'm going to leave a note, and it's just going to say, Paula told me to do it.
No, please don't. You want me to cry for the rest of my life?
It would give my life meaning, so maybe.
Oh my God. You're so dark. Okay, what's the thing?
Polygraphs don't prove anything. All right?
Yeah. When the guy on this said, like, polygraphs are 97% accurate, I was like, what the F are you talking about? Like, legitimately.
What they do prove is that, and it's exactly the same as the Justin Schmier Bigfoot encounter, which I fully believe. It just proves that Laurie and Glenn Jr. think they saw the Jersey Devil.
Yes, that's all it proves.
Yeah.
But it does help narrow down the fact that they aren't making it up to be on a documentary. You know, that they did have an experience, an encounter of some variety. But it doesn't prove that it was the Jersey Devil.
No.
Just that it was something.
Yeah, again, it proves that they legitimately believe that this is what they saw. But again, that doesn't mean anything. There's a reason why polygraph tests are not admissible in courts of law. Because they yes, this does not prove anything. Like, you may think you saw this, or you may think that you're innocent or something like that, but that doesn't actually mean anything. Like, it's the problem is we're probably going to have this exact conversation about 1 billion times because so many of these documentaries are probably going to have a polygraph test in them.
Well, not about Bigfoot, though, because we can all agree that Bigfoot is 100%.
I just can't. There's bears in the world, man. They're just bears. Bears and owls. New podcast name, Bears and Owls, and why everything is bears and owls. Bennington Triangle, bears and owls.
And Pigman. In what I can only describe as a desperate attempt to fill 45 minutes.
Yes. Oh, my God. How many?
They then spend a considerable amount of time forcing Laurie Winkleman to gaze upon a sculpture of the Jersey Devil for no discernible reason.
This part, they took their description of it and then they made a 3D, a life-size 3D model of it.
It's so ridiculous.
Is this the face that haunts your dreams?
They made them stand in a dark room and turn the light on and relive their trauma. It was uncomfortable for me to watch, honestly.
Why are you forcing this trauma on this woman who believes she's seen the Jersey Devil? They did the same thing with making a big. I have to believe that this film company have an artist and sculpture maker on staff that they need to use, that they've been forced to use. There's a budget for it, so they go. We had
this guy on retainer for 2 years. He's just collecting checks, not doing shit. We need to make him make something. What do you want? Oh yeah, I can do that. What's he look like? He's goat with wings. Yeah, I got it. No worries.
Also, their reaction, where they were just both this looks exactly like what we saw. This is exactly like what we saw. And I'm
but of course it does. They're the ones that described the Jersey Devil to the artist.
But also, they didn't actually really see. It was dark. A thing moved above them. It flew past them. They were running for their lives. There's no way they saw it with enough clarity to know what they saw, which is obvious when they get asked, did you see an owl? I don't know what I saw, but I know it wasn't an owl, which it makes no logical sense. But there's no way they got a good enough look at whatever happened.
Well, again, it's like self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like they know that these there's a devil out in the woods. So when you see a shadow, your mind automatically goes, oh, that must be this. You're just like, what's the word? What's the confirmation bias? Is that what it is? Is that what I'm talking?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it's just you automatically think it's that, so your mind starts seeing or interpreting things as this because you know there's a Jersey Devil out here, so that must have been the Jersey Devil. And it's no, it could have been anything, but because of the folklore around this, they're just oh, definitely couldn't have been an owl. And my favorite is when they reacted. I was expecting them to scream ah when they saw it, and she was just wow, yep, that's it. That looks exactly. I'm this is kind of they didn't react quite as much as I figured they would. If this was this, she's yep.
Sure is a sculpture. Well done.
Yep.
Yep. That exists.
Yep. You sure made the thing just like I told you to make it.
The problem is right. I do appreciate what you're saying there, Nick, because it's they live in the Pine Barrens, right? And the modern day sightings are from 1909, and there was just It's like if you might not know about this, but if you're in Britain, if you're in a place called Bodmin Moor and you see a dark shadow move, you're going to think it's the beast of Bodmin Moor, which is definitely a panther. But the thing is...
Oh, I was just talking about this with someone yesterday.
No. Let's hear about your day.
Oh, okay. Fine. You know what? Yesterday, here's what I did all day long.
Oh, a story in spite, the best kind of story. So, do you want to know what I think the Jersey Devil is?
Yes. A pterodactyl. A flying pig. Pigman. You think it's Pigman.
Pigman.
Two things I wish the Jersey Devil were are a pterodactyl or a pigman.
Oh, God. Dude, what if they had a baby, dude?
Or,
that'd be the most beautiful baby.
Oh my gosh, Nick, we're on the same page.
Paul,
the Jersey Devil is
here.
actually a combo of a pterodactyl and a pigman, and that's why it has the wings.
I think it's a hammerhead bat.
Describe this for me. I'm not sure what a hammerhead bat is.
They're terrifying.
So a hammerhead bat is the largest bat in Africa. They live for 30 years, and they have been known, they eat fruit, but they've been known to eat chickens. And I think someone either had one shipped over as a pet or a few stowed away on some kind of terrible slave trade boat, and that a small colony of these cute little guys adapted themselves and survived. Because, right, drawings and accounts of the Jersey Devil really, really look like a hammerhead bat.
They do.
Paula, look it up right now.
They are not cute. I just found a picture of a bat with I can only say is a massive erection, and it is shocking. And
Oh my gosh, you're right. This does look like a Jersey
Are you
Devil.
looking at the picture I'm looking at?
I don't think she is.
No, I'm not. I hope
Don't
not.
find this picture. I can't stop looking at it. It's so human-like.
It's got like a weird like horse head.
Exactly.
And giant ears and
It flies.
oh my gosh.
They're not quite as big as those owls, though. They've only got a wingspan of 3 foot, I believe.
But again, everything's exaggerated at night. Here's the thing. My thing with that, Matthew, is because you've told me about this hammerhead bat, and it does, honestly, in terms of straight description of what a Jersey Devil looks like, I believe that, like, yes, this is probably, in terms of straight description, probably the closest thing you can get. But I just don't see how, like, the whole, like, someone probably brought one over and it somehow survived all this time and all this. That's what I have a hard time wrapping my dome around.
How did it adapt itself to such a different climate
That's my thing,
quickly
too.
enough to not die?
I totally appreciate and will ignore what you're saying. And I really do appreciate what you're saying. And, well, just go on and believe what I want to believe anyway.
That's fair.
You're right, because hammerhead bats are used to hot, humid climates in West Africa. They're used to eating large quantities of fruit. The fact that they aren't native to the area at all, but there was trade between terrible trade.
Yeah.
But there was trade between Africa and that area of New Jersey. There were frequent boats. There was the chance of those animals being brought over, and the Pine Barrens is a massive area. I just think that it is not. I agree. Owls are more likely, but I really do think that it could be this bat, because I just feel as though people. I like to believe that if someone sees an owl, even though they've got the picture of the Jersey Devil in their brain, that they know it's an owl. But if you were to see that bat...
Yeah, having never seen it before, it would look like a monster, I
Yeah,
think.
and it is massive. It's a huge bat. It's terrifying.
And I would like to say now that if anyone has a large African hammerhead bat that I could possibly pet or even cuddle, I'd be very down with that.
Yes, I agree.
I love bats.
Bats are super cute and super nice.
They're great. Especially when they're just eating like a grape.
Mm-hmm.
Their little like claw hands kind of creep me out though. That's all.
That's all.
That's all.
Here's the thing, Matthew. Here's what I'll give you.
No.
I can
Aliens.
big man. I can wrap my head around the fact that, like, the origin of the Jersey Devil, like the when the stories first started coming about, was maybe this. Like, some dude brought back a bat. He's like, I brought back a bat, and then like it released or something like that, and a couple people saw it and was like, what the hell is that thing? Because again, if you didn't know it was supposed to be there, and like you kind of generally knew the fauna of the area, and then also you see that bat and you're like, what the hell is that? Like, I could totally see how that might be the origin of the way it looked, and then maybe that's just everyone now knows what it looks like, so every time there's a sighting,
That just persisted.
yeah, it's just like, because that's one thing that is surprising, is the fact that the look of the Jersey Devil hasn't really changed. But like, now there has to change the look of like Bigfoot. He's always more or less like the same.
Well, because Bigfoot is real. Obviously.
Yeah, of course, obviously.
Yeah,
Everyone's seen him.
You think D.B. Cooper died, Paula, so I can't
True.
respect you.
He's still alive.
Did you ever really respect me though?
I feel as though I tried at one point.
I gave it a good college try.
Here's the thing, right, is that I'm almost angry with how much sense that explanation makes.
Yeah, I want all of these stories to like actually like not have a logical answer.
Me too.
But it feels like we always come up with something that we're like, well, this makes some sense, though.
I hadn't thought of it that way, like that it could have just been an original spate of sightings of these African bats that have managed to sneak over in some fashion, and that they died off, and then every time for the next 250 years, or whatever it is, anyone saw an owl, God damn it.
Yeah,
that
if they
makes
saw
sense.
an owl in like a dark situation where it's like moving quickly, you don't get a good
Yeah.
look at it, you think about that thing, just like we were saying before about confirmation bias, and then that's what you think you saw.
No, he's ruined it for me. That's fine, fair enough. God damn it. Yeah, okay, you've changed my mind. I think you might be right.
Yeah. I'll never change my mind about Bigfoot, so that's good.
Well, how about this then? Portals. Portals and Lizard Man. It's not far from Roanoke, so that's what I'm saying.
True, and honestly, like I'll fully admit that, like, if I'm ever in Jersey near the Pine Woods and an owl dives on me at night, my first thought is probably
I hope it fucking nails you.
gonna be like, holy shit, it's a Jersey Devil!
Jersey Devil!
So, like, honestly, my first thought will probably be that.
That's it. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Death by Monsters. We are on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Just search for Death by Monsters and you will find us. If you have the time and the inclination, then leaving a review over on iTunes is a great way to help us, or force someone who you love to download and listen to us. That would be also great. Listen to us talking about flying goat creatures from hell. They'll enjoy it. I'm sure that they'll love it.
Goat creature.
And if you have your own home strange story, then we would love to hear it. Send them to deathbymonsterspodcast@gmail.com. Did you find a dead body? Its face covered in pentagrams?
Oh, dear.
Did you accidentally join a sexy cult?
Oh, my.
That's what I'm trying to find out about.
Ever see a weird pig that told you were gonna die?
Oh, no.
Big man.
Send them in, and we can talk about how much I believe in you. That's deathbymonsterspodcast@gmail.com. Anyone else want to say where they can be found in general? I mean, Paula does Twitch. You can see that. Paula Deming.
Yeah, Paula Deming on Twitch, also on Twitter. Find me there, or on YouTube, Paula Deming. And
With your real name, bold.
yeah, it's my real name.
I haven't. So, Nick, you are at the Brothers Mirth on Twitter, and you also are on Twitch and YouTube doing board gamery stuff.
Yep.
And that's it. So thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you again real soon. Bye.
Bye.
Big man.